to this special broadcast. The APSC combined competitive prelim exams were held last week. The APSC had earlier notified 913 vacancies for which a total of over 74,000 applications were received. How were the exams different this time, if at all? What about the conduct of the exams this time? Was the process smooth when compared to earlier years? Was there a significant change in the pattern or the content of the questions? What is the overall assessment of the exams this time? To discuss these and much more, I'm being joined by Rajdeep Lekharu, Director, CSAP in the studios in Guwahati. And I also have with me Mr. Anshuman Gogoi, founder of Competition Care. Very warm welcome to both of you. If I can go to you, Rajdeep, first. Welcome to Northeast Live. Well, the APSC exams were held last week. Coming to first things first, how do you rate the conduct of the exams this time round?
First of all, very much thank you, Nabarun, for welcoming me here to the show. Directly going to your question, I would like to rate quite high this time to APSC because the examination was conducted quite smooth as compared to the previous years. There were one High Court case also just before 2 months of conduction of the exam. But then they were quite stuck. They stuck to the examination date. They didn't postpone it, and in fact, they just reduced the time period for the registration process. And they were quite clear that they will conduct the exam on 26th of March. And even during the examination day, I believe everything was conducted in a very smooth manner. So I think I would like to rate 9 out of 10 to APSC for quite a smooth conduction of the exam.
That's quite high. Anshuman, what's your take on that?
Yeah, this time the papers were different, and this time the security was impeccable. So that there had been reports of lackadaisical security, but this time around even watches were not allowed. So the security was very tight, which will lead to fair conduct of the election. The exam.
So, you know, it's been a long journey, if we say. That reminds me, just the other day, Rakesh Pal was released on bail. I shouldn't be bringing up this topic here, but then those were the days, and here we are when we are sitting in a show praising the conduct and the smooth conduct of the exams. Now, coming to the main part, also, how do you assess the government's role in all these, Rajdeep? Do you think, of course, the government had a major role to play also?
Yes, definitely, because like if we see government's circulars getting issued, and even after so many High Court cases being done, APSC has been very much clear with the mindset that they are going to conduct these exams on a regular basis. And definitely these are the strict instructions from the government because they are coming up with new vacancies every year. And this positive role of the government is also inducing APSC to conduct, and it is like creating a pressure on the commission, the Honorable Commission, to conduct the exams on a regular basis. And this overall creates a certainty in the mindsets of the students. And I believe that because of the government's positive role and super active role, there has been a strict discipline and a competitive environment or an ecosystem, I would say, getting developed across the state. And students, they are very clear that, okay, there is a tentative calendar, and even APSC is continuously updating the calendar. In fact, earlier also there was a calendar, a tentative calendar, which was uploaded in the APSC website. But earlier they were not sticking to the dates. But as we can see in the last 1 year, APSC has been strictly sticking to the dates that they mentioned that they are going to conduct the exam or they are going to release the exam. In fact, this time also I'm listening that APSC is trying their best to release the prelims result within the time period of Bohag Bihu in Assam. So that's quite a good step.
That's fast.
Yes. And in fact, because of this, I think because of the government's role, the positive role, I think for the state of Assam and for the youths of Assam, I think we are saving a lot of productive time period of the youths. Because if the examination is conducted within a short time period and if it is very much certain, so youths are not like wasting a lot of time during their productive time period. So I think this is a very good step towards the demographic dividend of the state, so that the productive age or the productive work cycle can be productively used for the upliftment of the state, obviously.
Anshuman, professionalism much required in the conduct of exams too, as Rajdeep mentioned, because students should only worry about preparations and exams and nothing else, right?
Yes, because this APSC is kind of the mother of all examinations in Assam. So students should not divert their attention even an inch. For those students who are clearing and for those also who are not clearing this time, see, we have an exam of around 1500 marks and there are 180 days to go. So every day they are losing around 8 marks per day if they are spending time on any other activity, say visiting a mall even. So let alone speculations and other things, they must start preparing right from now onwards, and they have no scope of wasting time in any other activity whatsoever.
Absolutely. Now coming to the exam part, of course, Rajdeep, Anshuman, both of you are mentors of students, hundreds of students who appear for these exams every year. And probably every time an exam ends, there will be a certain section which will always say the papers were tough. Is that section bigger this time? What you're getting to know? What is the feedback after the exams? I mean, we have the question papers. We have seen the question papers. Rajdeep, as you pointed out, the answer keys were also out on time. So how do you rate the question pattern, Rajdeep, starting with you first?
Yeah, in fact, this year's question paper was a big shock to a lot of candidates.
Shock.
But yeah, it was a shock to a lot of candidates, but I take it very positively. First of all, the candidates are appearing to become the topmost bureaucrats of the state. So I
why
believe,
the shock in the first place? You mentioned why the shock in the first place?
yeah, because like the pattern of the questions were drastically changed as compared to the previous years. But I think APSC was quite clear. They came up with a notification where even they changed the pattern of the syllabus, and which was directly like it was ditto like with a UPSC pattern of the syllabus, except one paper which was added for the Assam part. But they were very clear with one thing, like that they are going to uplift the standard of the exam. So we have been talking with the students, we have been guiding them since last 2-3 years once the notification of the pattern change came up. And in fact, in one of my book, like it got published under McGraw-Hill, and it is a book for the prelims part of the exam. And in fact, if you check that book also, which was published in last year October, I had clearly made it clear that the pattern is going to change, and I try to give many number of analytical based questions, which we also see to find in the UPSC paper. But here in like in Assam, we are not used to that kind of an analytical paper like from APSC or from other departmental exams, because earlier in all the years there was direct statement based questions, but this year there are so many analytical based questions. So that's why many of the beginners or the newcomers, they were shocked as they compared with the previous year's question papers of APSC. So I think that was a shock, but I think since the question paper standard has been increased, it is good for the for the commission to recruit quality officers or quality candidates, which will ultimately uplift the administration scenario of Assam. So I think it's a good step.
Anshuman, what's your take on the papers, the pattern that Rajdeep was talking about?
Yes, there has been a definite shift from earlier papers, and that is for the good. APSC is always one step ahead of the aspirant, and more logical questions are to be expected in coming years, which should be criteria of selecting bureaucrats, because bureaucrats should be tested on their logical ability. So this is a very welcome change, and change is the rule of the game as far as civil services exams are concerned.
So going a bit more into this change in pattern, see, the syllabus is there for everybody to see. For new aspirants, for people, for youngsters who would want to appear for the exams next year, probably, what is the significant change? Your syllabus is right there. What is the significant change in the question pattern? If you can delve a bit more on that.
They have to be very thorough with their basics, and they have to be very fast readers. The prelims examination calls for fast reading and mains calls for fast writing. So these are the two basic things they have to be. This year around, people could not complete the paper, even they couldn't read the complete paper, so let alone they can attempt all the questions. So this calls for excellent reading skills. So we must call into new techniques of reading fast, as maybe photo reading we can invoke into our preparation. So along with understanding, reading fast is also, this is a kind of athletics where reading is of par importance.
Absolutely. I'll take reactions from you too, Rajdeep, on that. But before that, we'll just slip into a very short break at this moment. Special broadcast for APSC exams, the conduct of APSC prelim exams rather. Rajdeep, we're discussing how the pattern of questioning has changed. Your reactions, as I already mentioned, the syllabus is there. How has the pattern exactly changed on the papers?
Yes, so if we see in the last 1 year, APSC has conducted both the mains as per the new pattern, even the prelims as per the new pattern. So if I talk about the prelims, which we have already discussed, so now we can see a lot of analytical questions, statement, one question comprising of 4 or 5 statements, out of which you need to select again the correct options. So
there's also this very interesting observation
yes.
By some who had appeared for the exams is
Okay.
that the questions were easy, the answers
Yes.
made it difficult.
Yes, the topics are quite common, like which
Yeah.
you find it in all the syllabus or the standard books or any materials that you follow. But the options were so close, it was so confusing. So if you do not have a crystal clear clarity with the concepts, then you are definitely going to do mistakes. And also this year the prelims paper was a bit lengthy. Why? Because in one question you need to go through 4 or 5 statements and then correlate with the statements and then derive through elimination process and derive the correct answer. So one question used to take quite more time as compared to the questions which used to appear in the previous years. This was quite certain because if we compare the previous mains paper which was conducted in 2022 on the month of February. So if we compare the mains pattern questions that was asked in the last year as compared to the previous years, you can see that this was the first attempt where students faced quite a similar pattern of questions that are also asked in the UPSC papers in the present years. So there also in the mains you can see that 250 marks you need to write in 3 hours. But in Assam, like how many students have the experience of writing mains in UPSC? Hardly 50 students from Assam write mains in UPSC every year. So maximum students do not have that experience of writing 250 marks in 3 hours. And the demand of the exam itself is to write around 4,000 words in 3 hours of time period. So it expects the candidates to write quite fast. You need to address 25 to 30 words in 1 minute itself, and also within a limited amount of space, within a limited number of words. So as Anshuman was saying, like we need a good reading skill. I would like to add to that we also need to develop our writing skills. And I'm very optimistic in this pattern, like in this change in pattern, because if we get adapted to this practice or to this development of answer writing skills among our youths, I'm very sure we'll be also able to produce a lot many number of students who will successfully be able to clear even UPSC in the upcoming years, because the pattern will match, and once we start practicing for this pattern.
So basically Anshuman, there was a conscious effort to ensure that it's a concept-based exams. The answers are similar. The answer is similar, as Rajdeep pointed out. So conscious effort to ensure that your basics are strong and how fast you can solve the problem.
Yes, it's a test of, I will say, intelligence. Bureaucrats need to be intelligent. That's non-negotiable. So they have to face pressure in the real world. So definitely the paper is reflecting that APSC is seeking candidates who are able to handle pressure, who are able to handle some questions which they have never heard of even. So that's the beauty of this exam, and that's why so many people aspire to be an officer at the end of the day.
Now, the moment we talk about quote unquote a tough question paper, the next comes the question of cutoffs. Will the cutoff come down, or what are the speculations? You guys would know better.
Okay, so see, if we compare the standard of the paper, it was quite similar with UPSC in the previous years. I'm not talking about 2015-16 question papers, which was easy as compared to the last years of UPSC paper. And if you see that overall in India, like where like around 12 lakhs of people, candidates appear for UPSC, and this year also, like total number of candidates who will be selected for prelims are almost same as compared to UPSC. In UPSC also 9, 10,000, 11,000 candidates get selected for the mains. Even this year also in APSC around 9 to 11,000 candidates will be selected for the mains. So keeping the question paper the standard in mind, we can and also the cutoff of UPSC, which is around 90, and at pan India level, we can say one thing, that definitely the cutoff will come down drastically, which was 122.5 last year for the general male category of students. And also there are some other factors which we can analyze. It's like the number of candidates who have applied the APSC this year and also the previous year has been same approximately. So, but the seats have been increased like almost 3 times. So definitely the cutoffs are going to come down. And if we compare it with UPSC cutoff, I think the cutoff will be somewhere between 80 to 90 for the male category, for the general male category, and consequently for the other reserve categories will come down, and even for the female candidates.
Anshuman, your assessment?
Yes, I would like to agree with Rajdeep that cutoffs are going to really come down. So I think that it might go down even beyond below 80 for general candidates, of course. So candidates securing from 60 to 80 and 80 above are definitely sure of this exam. They must start preparing, they must start writing answers, and they must mentally prepare of going into mains. And even if they do not clear this time, they are surely going to get ahead of other candidates for next year's exam, which is, I believe, will be conducted very soon. No, I mean, as soon as this process is over, the second notification is going to come, because the government has been really very fast and very active in, and very serious in conducting of this, especially APSC exam.
Absolutely. Now, if we talk about preparation for the mains, what should be the mantra, Rajdeep?
Okay, well, preparation for mains is like you need to, like candidates need to understand the syllabus first, because the syllabus of mains is quite vast, and it is a multi-dimensional syllabus wherein you have 5 papers of general studies along with the essay paper. So first of all, the candidates should develop a multi-dimensional approach, and the importance of interlinkage of current affairs with the syllabus, because if we see and analyze the past year question papers, we see a lot of current affairs based questions coming up. And in Assam, since I have traveled across the state, met more than 10,000 of students and aspirants across the state, I see one thing, that somewhere we lack the habit of reading newspapers. So importance of newspaper is very important. And along with that, the interlinkage of newspaper with the syllabus. Because nowadays questions are coming in an interlinking format, wherein we can expect a question wherein like economics and environment is getting interlinked. For example, we are talking about climate change, and there can be a question like how climate change can impact the agricultural scenario of Assam. So that can be a that specific question. So therein, like, we don't have much time to think in the question during the examination time period. So I'd like to request the aspirants who are clearing the prelims that they need to do this homework before the examination.
Basically about knowing what is happening around
Yes,
you, be aware
yes.
of that. That's most important.
Yes, yes, it's very important.
Anshuman,
Yeah, I would. For me, the mains preparation would be like just as we gave our matriculation exams. Not all questions were repeated, but most of them were repeated from PYQs. And in high secondary also it was the same, and degree also exams were also same. So in UPSC also, not all questions are repeated, some questions are repeated. So PYQ plays a great role. In APSC, it will not be any different. So my suggestion to aspirants is that go through the PYQs, and at least when they see similar questions from PYQ, they can attempt without wasting time. And they save time, in fact, and they save time for the unexpected questions. So they can give more time to the unexpected questions which are more or less current affair based. So as Rajdeep has correctly said, that if we read newspapers from, even if we failed reading newspapers in prelims, even if you start right now after watching us, they can surely get themselves
The first
selected.
part was a shortcut that you just mentioned.
Yes.
And the second part, of course, what Rajdeep said, has to be a habit
Yes.
as far as the preparation for the mains is concerned.
Yes, yes, true.
Yeah. So coming back to the conduct of the exams, both of you agree that things have smoothened and things have got better. Overall, how do you rate the structure, Rajdeep?
Okay, I think the structure needs a few reforms maybe in some point of time, because in quite a short amount of time period there has been a few changes in the structure, because in the previous attempt there was this optional paper, but again the optional paper has been removed this year. So I think somewhere some candidates have failed because there was the optional paper, and there was which we normally see in UPSC, like the normalizing of marks between some scoring papers and some non-scoring papers. For example, if we try to compare with the optional papers like physics, chemistry or mathematics optional paper, and if we compare on the other side like some humanities subject like sociology or political science or history, so we see that the marking pattern is different. A candidate with physics optional can get very high score, but a candidate with sociology optional can get very less score. So there is somewhere UPSC is trying to normalize the marks, but this was not seen in the previous year APSC means paper. So if we analyze the marks of various candidates from across different subjects, so that's why this year the option has been removed. So I think if we are changing with the structure, I think it's the responsibility of the Honorable Commission to think about the consequences first, and then I think implement the changes, because I think otherwise it takes away a lot of time for a lot of sincere candidates. So I think that is where somewhere we need to work on the structure, but otherwise...
It's a message to the Commission. I'm running out of time, Anshuman. Any message for the students, the aspirants?
Yeah, and answer writing would be the key. So if you are Virat Kohli, you would like to practice batting, and if you're an APSC aspirant, so please write answers. I mean, you have to write 6 hours continuously, I think, for 7 days, 7 odd days. There might be gaps in between, but most of the people will be in a shock if they do not write answers. Their hands are going to pain.
Absolutely reminds us of our exam days. Rajdeep, 20 seconds.
Yes, I think I would like to agree with Anshuman, because like APSC this time will demand a lot of answer writing practice. You can't even imagine, even during our time when we used to write mains, it was like the hand pains from the shoulder part to your fingers. So in fact, we see candidates in Delhi applying Volini during the examination time period and writing continuously.
You can think of some physiotherapy classes also. Thank you so much, Rajdeep Lekharu, Anshuman Gogoi. I'm sure your suggestions will be handy for the aspirants. That's a wrap of this special broadcast.